They used to pack a suitcase, book a ferry, and move to the continent without a second thought. They used to live, work, retire, or fall in love anywhere from Alicante to Amsterdam, as if borders barely existed. And then came Brexit. And with it, a bureaucratic revolution that turned seamless migration into a maze of visas, paperwork, biometric data, and sometimes heartbreak. So today, let's answer a question that's more relevant than ever. How many British citizens have actually moved to the EU since the end of the Brexit transition period, and what barriers did and still do they face? And let's break it down country by country. And let's be clear from the start, we're not talking about holidays in Provence or weekends in Prague. We're talking about people uprooting their lives, crossing borders, and trying to build new futures in post-Brexit Europe. Since the Brexit transition ended on January 1st in 2021, the number of British nationals leaving the UK has consistently outpaced those returning. In the year ending December 2024, the UK saw a net emigration of 17,000 British citizens. That's not all migrants, that's not refugees, that's British passport holders leaving their own country. In total, over 93,000 British nationals emigrated in the year ending June 2023. And that figure sits against a background of 517,000 total emigrants from the UK in 2024 alone. That's a spike, that's a signal. Yeah, something has shifted. And the timing is not a coincidence. It matches perfectly with a post-Brexit regime that turned free movement into a forgotten privilege. While Brits were leaving the UK, many were heading towards Europe. Not in record-shattering numbers, but in steady flows driven by family, jobs, lifestyle, or retirement dreams. But here's the twist. Unlike in the pre-Brexit era, every step now comes with hurdles. And let's start with France. By October 2021, France had received more than 165,000 applications from British citizens seeking residence. Over 100,000 residence permits were issued. The data for subsequent years is patchy, but the trend is clear. France remains a magnet for British immigrants, especially in the southwest. Yet moving to France today means setting up an online account at France Visas, attending appointments at TLS contact centers in the UK, submitting piles of documents, proving financial stability, and securing private health insurance. Forget the romantic notion of buying a cottage in Provence. Now it starts with paperwork. And in Germany, the picture is equally complex. The British population here was estimated at 168,000, but since Brexit, new arrivals face a wall of regulation. For stays over 90 days, a national Germany visa is required, and after arrival, one must register their residence within 2 weeks at a local Bürgeramt. That's a necessary step for everything from opening a bank account to applying for a residence permit. And don't forget the mandatory health insurance. You want to work? You'll need a job offer and in most cases meet the salary threshold for a blue card or general employment visa. And that's if your profession is even recognized in Germany. Because now British qualifications are no longer automatically valid. You will need to go through formal recognition processes which differ even by federal state. It's not impossible, but it's no longer frictionless. Now head to the Netherlands, where British residents make up about 0.76% of the population as of 2023. Immigration there was high in 21 and 22, with over 650,000 total immigrants entering across both years. But for Brits, it's no longer a walk in the Vondel Park. A residence permit is mandatory for stays over 90 days. A work permit, a TWV or GVVA, is often required, with employers handling much of the application. And health insurance is not just recommended, it's mandatory. Banking access has also become trickier, as some UK banks closed accounts for immigrants in countries like the Netherlands and Italy. And even driving isn't straightforward anymore. You have 185 days to exchange your British license for a Dutch one, or risk retaking your driving test. And now let's talk about Spain. Spain has long been a top destination for British migrants. In 2023, the foreign-born population reached over 6 million, and the British community was estimated at between 800,000 and 1 million residents. But like elsewhere, things indeed have changed. To stay longer than 90 days, Brits now need a visa, and Spain offers several. The golden visa for investors, the non-lucrative visa for retirees, the digital nomad visa for remote workers, and family reunification options. Each comes with specific income thresholds, insurance requirements, and of course tons of paperwork. Getting residency means obtaining both a NIE number for financial matters and a TIE card for legal residence. Gone are the days of just buying a flat and staying as long as you like. Even retirees must now prove they have enough passive income and private healthcare coverage to avoid becoming a burden on Spain's social services. And then there's Ireland, the outlier. Thanks to the common travel area, Brits can still live, work and study in Ireland without visas or residence permits. They retain access to healthcare and can even vote in national elections. For now, at least, Ireland remains Britain's open door to Europe. But even there, the rules for non-EU family members have tightened. Everywhere else in the EU, British migrants are now treated as third country nationals. And that comes with strings attached. There's no more automatic recognition of UK professional qualifications, as I mentioned earlier. A nurse or architect must now apply to national bodies in each member state and possibly complete additional training. And there is no more European health insurance card unless you are covered by specific grandfather clauses. And there's no automatic access to local healthcare. There is no seamless banking. And as I said, some British banks have pulled services from customers in the EU entirely. And don't even get me started on pensions. While the UK state pension is still paid into EU countries, some private and workplace pensions face administrative or regulatory barriers. And no, not all pension providers are equipped to deal with post-Brexit realities. Add to this the fact that British migrants often cannot vote in UK election after 15 years abroad and cannot vote locally in many EU countries either. And the result? Thousands of tax-paying British residents in the EU without a democratic voice anywhere. And let's not forget the psychological toll. Many Brits now report feeling like second-class residents. Well, I would call them third-country residents. They face longer processing times, higher rejection rates, and uncertainty about their future. And it's not just about bureaucracy. It's about belonging. It's about political disenfranchisement, about identity. So, how many British citizens have moved to the EU since Brexit? Well, I do not know the full picture, because post-Brexit data is fragmented, inconsistent, and often even missing, at least in public records. But I know the movement continues. The motivations with love, work, son, and family haven't changed. What's changed is the route. It's longer, it's bumpier, it's more expensive, and for many, it's more uncertain. Brexit didn't stop British migration to the EU. It just made it harder. And that's the real story.